My dad was laid off. I just remember seeing my parents like with their head in their hands trying to figure this shit out.
Electric car giant Tesla laid off around 10% of its workforce in April.
Because I ended up being on the news for getting laid off from Tesla. And soon the YouTube started growing.
He's laid off living in his car. Now that is a story. His setup there is what created the whole opportunity for his YouTube channel.
Alright guys, so I've been living in my Tesla for the past 2 years now, and I wanted to talk to you guys all about it in today's video, so let's get into it. So I've been living in this Tesla Model X since December of 2025. So 7 months I've been living in this one. Previously, I did live inside my Tesla Model Y since May of 2024.
I'm not gonna lie, that shit looks hella spacious. I could definitely live in that. The worst part about this would be having to shower though, that's for sure. Having to take a shower would be a pain. I guess you go to a gym, but it's like not really the same, you know?
So total of 2 years I've been living inside Teslas. But let me show you guys this rig. This is a Tesla Model X that I converted into a van because I basically created underneath storage with the help of a builder. And that pretty much just, it's a wood panel. And I have an entire single bed right here with a microwave, pneumatic water pump, and let me show you guys the back. So this is the drawer system by B3 Customs.
Bro's Asian too, so you know he's hella frugal.
It's in Oceanside near San Diego, and bam, this is a fridge that I have full access to, and it stays plugged in 24/7 inside the Tesla 12 volt in the back. Little walk around.
He said he's in San Diego too, so that's nice because you know the weather stays nice. Here in Arizona, you can't do that shit. You fucking melt. And if you're in a cold spot, then that makes it difficult too. But like in California, I could definitely see this being feasible.
Let me show you guys this one. So these are the X-Wing doors. This Tesla Model X is actually discontinued now. They don't make any of these. But here's the other view. Microwave, and then I have a power bank in the front. Also have a pop-down sink right there. So I'm able to live in this full time with a full kitchen, a fridge, and a bed. And let me tell you guys about the story of how I started living inside Teslas. So I've been traveling so much, I haven't really had a chance to like sit down and like talk to you guys about like the story of how I started living inside the car. So if you guys are new to the channel, my name is Nico, I'm 31 years old, and I live full time in my Tesla for the past 2 years. Since May of 2024, I started living inside a Tesla. The Model Y before this, but let's bring it back to 2017. I had went to San Jose State, I had just got a business degree, and I was ready to conquer the world. Yet I had applied to multiple different jobs, I didn't get anything, and I started my own business called Motivates Meal Prep in San Jose, California. And me and my brother had started it, and we thought we had a good rhythm going. We were selling about 200 meals a weekend, and we thought it was all good. And then we found out that it wasn't working, and that me and my brother were just like, forget it. We're just going to work full-time jobs. That's where Alec had applied to Tesla in 2018. And then I was still living off savings, and I was a server at a Gen Korean barbecue, I think. 19 happened, and I got hired at Tesla. I was a production associate starting at $19 per hour. And keep in mind, I had a business degree, and I was stunned. I was like, what is this? I went to
It's pretty sad. I actually have a buddy who he got computer engineering degree. Filipino as well, I believe this guy's Filipino. But it's supposed to be a good degree, right? It was hot for a while, then AI starts exploding. As AI was exploding, he was already 2 years into his degree. So by the time he got his degree, he said out of all the people he graduated with, 2 of them have had jobs. And he graduated about 2 years ago. So he said some of them are working McDonald's now. They're just working, lower tier jobs with a computer engineering degree. It's a wild time.
School, and I got a business degree, and I'm starting at $19 an hour, just base level starting. But, I said I was going to work hard inside Tesla, and I'm going to work my way up. So 2020 happened, and I got hired at GNC as a store associate, and then I had worked 2 jobs. So I was working GNC and I was working at Tesla. So I had actually got a promotion at Tesla. I was a production team lead which was $24 an hour. So I was working 2 jobs, and I got a raise basically at Tesla. And I had, for the life of me, still wanted to climb the ladder. And so I actually became, in 2021, a production supervisor, starting at $85,000 a year. And I thought life was great. Have another job, at GNC, and I have Tesla. And so things were going good, so good that me and my parents actually, and my little brother, went into a house. And we bought a $1.2 million house in Lathrop, California. And so now my commute was from Lathrop all the way to Tesla in Fremont, California, which was an hour and a half one way, an hour and a half back. And keep in mind, the work shifts were 3 days one week, and 4 days the next week, 12 hours.
I could not do that, chat. I could not drive anything more than, I would say, like 30 minutes every day. I'm just not built for it, bro. I hate driving. I hate being in a car. It's just not for me. And that's fucking wild. Shout out to this guy. I couldn't do it. Onward.
Our shifts for all those days. So I was working like 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. I was listening to Dave Ramsey on the road all the time. I was listening to his podcast, and it kind of gave me into the mindset that, be debt free, and it's going to allow you to have more freedom if you ever want to get into something else. So I kept listening to Dave Ramsey and being debt free and what that can do for you. The biggest expense is the house, the mortgage, right? The rent payment. It's going to be whatever that number is. It's $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, right? Plus you have electricity and all that. In 2024, I had topped out my salary, $120,000 a year. I thought I was on top of the world. Things are going great. I actually got rid of my GNC job. I thought, I don't need that no more because I'm making 120 grand a year now. Life is great. And I thought it was smooth until 2024 in April. I'll never forget it. I was driving on I-580, and it was 4:30 in the morning. My work shift started at 6:30, so I was in the dark driving to work on FSD in my Model Y. I had got an email saying my work account had been deactivated, and I was like, what does that deactivated mean? I would text my boss, and my boss said, everybody got it, just come in. And then I was like, okay. So I came in to work to Fremont, hour and a half away, went to the badging gate, slid my badge, and it turned red. And the security guard had said I had been laid off. I don't work there no more. So after 2019 to 2024, I got laid off. And I thought my whole world was stunned. It was just broken. I was like, I looked left and right, man. I was like,
chat, this is why you guys gotta have your own motion. Because if you have a boss, bro, the minute you are not an asset to them, like if you become a liability, they'll let your ass go like that. You are just a pawn on the chessboard. You're just a number. The minute you're too expensive for them, or maybe your production is just not quite there, your ass is grass, buddy. You're gone. And look at this guy. He had a good paying job. He did the right thing, right? He got his degree. That was a failed, what do I call it? That was a failed accomplishment. Not in his case, right? He did what he thought was a good idea, but society fucking failed him. He got a degree, and a good degree, right? Business degree. You think it's gonna get you some shit. It didn't get him shit. Well, he had to resort to plan B. He got a job. He worked hard. He moved up the ladder, and still what happened? He gotta let fucking go, bro. It's 2026. You gotta have your own motion. Because if you don't have your own money coming in, they're going to snatch you, cut your throat, and you're gone. I mean, that's just the reality, bro. Like, you could never... People think being an entrepreneur is risky. What's being risky is having all your eggs in another man's hands. If he doesn't want to pay you one day, you're gone. Now your whole world, your whole income source is cut from you. How are you going to feed your kids? How are you going to provide for your family, your wife? I don't know. I just think it's crazy to allow another person to have that power to just cut your money off. Even if you have a job, you gotta have a backup plan. You gotta have some money coming in elsewhere so that shit like this does not happen.
And I remember coming here all the time, every work shift. I slept actually in the parking lot to avoid the 3-hour round trip commute. For about a year, I did that because I used the showers at the facility in Tesla, Fremont, California, and they had microwaves inside the break room. And yeah, it would be awkward to see my coworkers inside the bathroom sometimes at 6 a.m. But had to get the job done, right? And so, got laid off, and I'll never forget it. I went back home inside that $1.2 million house, and I told my parents, I was like, I just got laid off, and I don't know what to do. And it shocked me, and it did my parents too.
Electric car giant Tesla laid off around 10% of its workforce in April. That translates to about 4.
Damn. That's just sad though. Like, it's sad that him. I don't know. Sucks. My dad was laid off. I remember when it happened, like, my family. I just remember seeing my parents, like, with their head in their hands trying to figure this shit out, how they're gonna put. My mom had a job too, so she was getting an income, but my dad was the breadwinner. He made most of the money, and I remember that shit like it was yesterday. And I remember thinking, bro, when I grow up, can't let something like that happen to me.
14,000 jobs. Many who worked at the factory in Fremont were commuting from Sacramento, Stockton, and Lathrop.
Your reporter covering San Joaquin County, Esteban Reynoso, is in Lathrop, where one man is speaking out about his experience with the car company.
Everything was going right for Nico Murillo. He had bought this house here in Lathrop right behind me, as well as a Tesla while working at Tesla, and 5 years in, he got laid off. Now he has to look for a new job and sell a house here in Lathrop.
Got laid off recently on April 15th, on Monday.
Nico Murillo worked for 5 years at Tesla's car manufacturing factory in Fremont, building the cars we see on the roads. He commuted almost every day, the hour-and-a-half drive to and from work and home in Lathrop.
Pulling the car, we were putting the parts in, and then sending the car down the line.
And on the days he didn't commute,
Bed goes there, and then this is a trifold bed, so you collapse it, put it in the trunk.
he would sleep in his car to save time.
It was man.
Dedicated to his work at Tesla, that is until he tried to use his badge at the employee entrance like any other day.
This big security guard, in his deep voice, was like, "Hey man, sorry." And then he pulled me to the side, and I was like, "Oh, this is not good." And then he's like, "Hey man, sorry, you've been part of the layoffs. You don't work here anymore."
Just like that, Murillo was laid off. Around 14,000 other Tesla employees met the same fate that April morning, and now Murillo has to make some tough decisions.
Yeah, gotta sell the house, gotta do what I gotta do to, keep living.
A home he bought just 2 years ago. But Murillo isn't sour towards Tesla.
I like the brand, how luxury it looks. I like the camp mode in there. All of that is like...
Shit. That's fucking wild. I mean, yeah.
It excites me to have worked for the company, yeah.
After the house hopefully sells, he says he will go back to living in his car. He says the Tesla door closing has allowed him to follow what he truly wants to do.
Perseverance and grit. Once you have that attitude, the world is endless, right?
Murillo will be documenting his journey on YouTube, living in his car, as well as his new job at the GNC inside the Stone Ridge Mall in Pleasanton.
I was about to say, I feel like, I'm gonna have to look at his channel, but I think he has like almost 100K subs. So, I would think, like, if I was in this guy's position, and it's funny because this is actually what my buddy did that got got laid off, but there was no job opportunities after getting a computer engineering degree. Just figure out how to get some money going, like with a YouTube channel or something, and then or an online business, whatever, and then take your ass overseas. Like, go to the Philippines, go to Thailand, somewhere where, or even Mexico or something, where the USD goes very far. And he would probably save more than living in the Tesla, honestly.
He says that it needs a lot of traffic and that anybody can come and say hi.
Alright guys, we have KTVU Channel 2 News. Look at that thing. Oh my god. Yeah, so they're here, they interviewed me. A little quick, a couple minutes, but yeah, kind of cool. Showing them around on the car, give them a little tour. The whole setup over here, pretty dope. But, there's always something good and something great out of something bad. And you can always turn water into wine, or you can turn a bad situation into something good. So I was like telling my parents, I was like, what if I put this on YouTube? Like, I know I signed an NDA, but if I put this on YouTube, maybe, other people will share the same experience, And I didn't know that a lot of people had this issue of getting laid off, even though they worked at a job that, they were at. And, you could work so hard at something but still be let go. And I didn't know that concept, and this is very common in the tech field I didn't know this. It's my first time getting laid off. And yeah, so long story short, I had this meeting with my parents and my little brother because we were living in the $1.2 million house in Lathrop, and I was like, what do we do? You know, something's got to go. We can't afford this house anymore. You know, I think we're going to have to sell. So that's what we did in May of 2024. We had to sell our house. So the following month after I got laid off, we put the house on the market. It got sold in a couple of weeks because I ended up being on the news before getting laid off from Tesla. And soon the YouTube started growing, and but I was so lost. I was so completely lost. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna work at GNC again because I had worked there before. I just took any job because I was applying. I kid you not, guys. I was applying like for every job I could find, even a Target cashier I couldn't even get in. And it was so like, I was so distraught because I had put so much time and effort into a company and to be let go, you know? And so after, you know, going to GNC in the Stonehenge Mall in Pleasanton, I started living in the car full time in my Model Y. And I was like, you know what, this is not that bad. But I did have some major difficulty, guys. I, for the life of me, couldn't find a gym that was 24 hours. I went to 24-hour fitness. I thought it was good. And it turns out that it was not the best experience. There was, if I had to tell people like what to do, you know, before we started living in the car, this is what I would tell them. Cause like, yeah, 24-hour fitness, like the showers were really nasty. It smelled. There was people spraying underneath me, and for the life of me, I couldn't do 24-hour fitness. So this thing I discovered, a van life person on YouTube, Anytime Fitness. They're franchised. They have gyms all across the U.S. and I didn't even know this. And also Planet Fitness. They have gyms all across the U.S. and you can go in there and shower. Some of them are not 24 hours, but Anytime Fitness is 24 hours because you put in a badge right here and you just sign in. And I didn't know that, and so that's how I shower and use the bathroom. And I was like, oh, this is quite interesting. Maybe you could do this all across the country, you know? And so I slowly realized like how bad it actually was in the car when I was living in it in Pleasanton when it got in June. Because remember, it's April, May, and then now June of 2024. And my fridge started overheating. It was so hot in the car. And like, I didn't know that Teslas had a fridge in the sub trunk. Like that just mind boggled me. And then I didn't know there was Dometic water pumps to squirt water. And I was like, what? This exists at REI? And so water tank. I didn't know you could have a microwave in a car. So I had gotten a power bank that was strong enough. And, you know, by Blue Eddy or EcoFlow, that's the time I had it. But now I have Blue Eddy and they're great. And I'm able to have a microwave. So microwave, fridge, water, a bed. I got on Amazon, just cut this. And so all these things I started figuring out on my own, and I had to.
It's super chill setup. Like, I don't know if I could do 2 years, but I could probably do a year living like that. It does not seem that bad. And if you think about it, like his setup there is what created the whole opportunity for his YouTube channel. Because if he was just talking about like being laid off and just living in he's in an apartment or whatever, it doesn't hit quite the same. But he's laid off living in his car. Now that is a story that people will watch.
The hard way by doing all of it myself. And hopefully this inspires you to either car camp or to, to experience what it's like to live in a car. Because this is caveat. This is the turning point. When we had that meeting, me, my little brother, and my parents, I'll never forget it. I'm a super big Excel sheet guy. And so when I saw rent, electricity, gas, water, garbage eliminated, and also got rid of my car note, so I didn't have car payment. So I got rid of all the big expenses and started living below my means. And I started saving, get this, $1,500 per month just on a regular GNC job. And that's like almost basic entry level, guys. And so I started figuring out like, wow, man, you could save a lot of money by just living in a car. And, it's not easy, but it's possible and it's doable. And I'm telling you guys, the other side of like, living in the car is like savings, right? Saving money, right? But also experiencing and living and enjoying nature and being outside. Caveat, I do stay in a house from the months of November, December, and January and February, because those are the coldest months of the year and it's really hard to live in the car. So I'll go live in it part-time. So that's the caveat. But you do save a lot of money by living in the car. Just saying, you don't have to do it. I'm not telling you, but like the experience of living in it full-time is awesome. Since August of 2024, that's when I quit my full job at GNC and I started doing YouTube full-time because all the views and ad revenue and the sponsors started coming in. That's pretty much how I started living inside the car and traveling full-time and doing this YouTube channel. All right, guys, I've been living in my Tesla for the past 2 years now, and one of the things that I really wish I had when I first started living in the car would be a portable camping chair, but not any portable camping chair, one that's easy to put away. Couple seconds.
We're skipping ads.
It fits right. It's really cramped inside. Flick of the lid over my chair and be more creative. But put away the chair. It doesn't take that. I'll have a link in the description. The Great Outdoors. While sitting thanks Overmont for sponsoring today's video, and now back to the video. I did feel lost when I started living in the car in the Tesla because I was constantly traveling in August, right? And so there's this one quote that says, travel far enough and you meet yourself. And that one really hit me when I read that quote, because it's like you start to understand yourself when you start living in a car and start reading tons of books and start, waking up to nature and hearing birds and like seeing the sunrises and sunsets, and I'm super grateful. I've learned gratitude, and I've also found God too. And you're never lonely when you have God. That's one thing. And
that's a great quote right there. You are never lonely when you have God. Yeah, that's a good quote.
There's something great about just living nomadically, right? Not the responsibility of a house, and just being outside in nature in parking lots, or I don't know. I really enjoy it, and I hope you guys, get a chance to, actually car camp or be outside in nature and overnight camp somewhere. Which brings me into a segue of where do you actually car camp at, right? And where do you actually, sleep at? And so majority of the places I sleep at is either neighborhoods, the 24-hour gyms, and you could park at Love's too, like also truck stops, and also rest areas. But my sleeping is at like 24-hour gyms and also neighborhoods. Like I would park in the neighborhood, and then after I park in the neighborhood, I gotta go to the bathroom. I just drive 2 minutes away from the gym, and I'll just come back to the neighborhood and just park there and camp there overnight. And so that's my strategy I've been doing for the past almost like 2 years now, is exactly that. And it's not that hard as long as you figure out your rhythm and you look at Google Maps and stuff. It helps out a lot. So I read this one book called The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. It's a great book, but it says that problems will eventually happen. It's not a matter of if, ladies and gentlemen, it's a matter of when the bad things happen, and are you prepared for it, right? And so when these bad things happen, it's okay. Like just know in the moment that these things will come and go, and like this too shall pass, right? And it's like, your fridge might overheat, or like it gets too hot in the car, or the gym have a shower actually, and so you have to, or the gym actually is not 24 hours at Planet Fitness, and you got to go to the next one. So these things eventually they happen, but it's the mindset, that shift of like, hey, it's okay because, bad things happen eventually, and this is just one of the bad things. It's like the highest of the highs and, the lowest of the lows, man. And you got to take it all in stride. And, that's goes on a lot of athletes, right? You'll win some games and you'll lose some games. And, if you're a quarterback at a football game and you throw an interception, are you going to keep your head down? Or are you going to work through it and go on to the next play, right? Or the next drive? And it's kind of like that of like, I used to play football, and that's the mindset that you got to have when living in a car. It's like next play mentality, right? And you just got to keep moving forward no matter what comes to you. You got to keep going, and don't stick your head in the sand if you get off, or you lost your job, right? Or like lost a house, or something really bad happened to you, right? It's like, okay, understand it, reflect. It's good to understand these emotions and hold them. Don't hold them on too close to where you're stuck, right? And so that's what I learned is like, even like the greats like Taylor Swift, she said, catch and release, right? Like, catch the feeling, understand it, feel it, but then release it, right? Like, that's the thing, the mentality that people don't think about when in a car is like that catch and release, right? And that, bad things happen, okay, let's move on, right? And so, that having that attitude and also having an attitude of gratitude, like, I get to do this, this is a life that I get to live, right? And that we only get one life, and how do you want to live it, right? And so my life right now is to inspire, to motivate, to uplift others to either car camp or to, live nomadically, or just to have the right mindset. And I hope you guys enjoy the videos that I create every single week, because I get a chance to motivate and uplift you guys, and I get to be a motivator. That's what I've always wanted to do as a supervisor at Tesla, as a person in football. I was one of the team captains, and so I was a running back, and I just want to you guys, and to keep your head up even though things are down, but you don't stay there, right? So I just want to end the video here. I know I've been ranting for a long time, and I just wanted to give you guys my story of how I started car camping and living nomadically in a car. And
it was a good video. He seems like a super genuine, cool dude for sure. I don't know, he seems really nice and humble and just connected with the world, honestly.